President Trump has decided to headline. He's decided to headline the 250th birthday of the United States of America. It's an event called the Great American Fair. He's decided to headline it because several performers have pulled out. They've pulled out. They thought it was going to be nonpartisan, and they found out what's going on. What is that? Is West. They've discovered that it was more about political affiliations, political aspirations, and maybe even what's going on 98 Ways. Thanks for joining. It's more about President Trump pushing his political agenda right before the midterms. So a number of performers, what's going on, Muhammad, Zaki, a number of people have decided to pull out of that particular event. Like I said, the Great American Fair that was planned for, I think it's June 25th through the 10th of July. So anyway, they've pulled out. And so the question that I was asking earlier is Trump stepping up and saying that he's going to headline the event, great leadership, or is it all about his ego? Which one is it? Now, personally, my take on it is that it's all about his ego. I watched it, and I was going to mention this in my video earlier. President Trump, I watched this documentary on it, and they said these clinical psychologists or whatever, what's going on, Frankie? These clinical psychologists, when studying President Trump, right? They were studying him. They said that he is a narcissist. What do they call it? A narcissistic psychopath or something like that? A narcissistic psychopath. Pretty much, President Trump makes everything about him, and his personal agenda as well as his political agenda, right? That's the reality. That's what he does. And so even him saying that I'm going to headline this event, what's going on, Hunchy, Rose, Eric Sr., go ahead and double tap for me, like the live. But President Trump pretty much does everything to benefit himself. That's what he does. Every move that he's made, he's benefited the entire time he's been in office. And so even with this, saying that he's going to headline this event, I believe personally that he's using it right before the midterms to push his political agenda, because what he has done, and I said this a long time ago, the fact is that whoever is in his administration, or even if it's just President Trump, let's say it's just President Trump is what I would call a military genius. I studied war. That was one of my favorite subjects, was war and history. So looking at President Trump and the maneuvers, his maneuvers, he's a genius. He's a military genius. He's positioning himself, and he's been doing it even when he's challenging the courts, the Supreme Court, the federal court, all of those things. He was testing to see how much he could get away with. That's what he was doing. And I think he even joked about serving, 8-9 years or something like that. So pretty much he's suggesting that he may not come out of office. And I think that's a real possibility. I don't think that he's really joking, to be quite honest. I don't think that he's joking at all, right? What's going on? What is it? Scrotosity. What's going on? Anyway, I don't think that President Trump is joking. I even think the fund that he just set up when he sued the IRS, and then he settled with himself for $1.8 billion and set up this fund where people who were wronged by the Biden administration can go and get money from it. I believe that that's a way of positioning himself again for those people that were involved in January 6th, because I watched the entire January 6th, riot play out. I watched him when he was telling the people, hey, we're going to storm the Capitol. They've stolen the election. We're going to fight like whatever, right? He said something along those lines. And I watched it all play out. And that's what they did. And then when he got in office again, he pardoned them all. Now, some have caught cases later. I think I read something the other day that some even have sex. They're like sex offenders or something. You know, all type of other stuff, right? But that is those are his constituents, and not only that, those are people that he already knows will fight, right? He knows that already because they've done it before. So this fund is to pay them for their services and make sure that when he calls on them again, that they will be there. And I think that all of the people that he's putting around himself, and he's getting rid of these people and putting these people in different positions, are people that will support him in anything that he does. I believe that that's what he's doing at this very moment. Not only at this moment, but what he's been doing since he's been in office during this term. It's just positioning himself to make sure that he's not going to come out of office. You can mark my words. President Trump is going to try to stay in office after this term. Somehow, some way. I don't know how he'll do it, but he will figure out a way that he will make it happen. Trust what I'm saying. Anyway, back to the 250th birthday, the Great American Fair. Like I said, the performers pulled out, and this is how I felt. Like I said, they felt that the celebration was going to be nonpartisan when they found out, it was going to be political. They pulled out. I don't feel that was the best move. I can't say as far as career-wise if it was the best move, but thanks for joining, Andy, Satch, Double Tap, like the live. I don't know if those performers will hurt their career by pulling out on this particular event. But I do feel that if they made the commitment that they still should show up. I believe that personally. You should still show up, because I feel that if you show up, you can still express your opinion and your views while there, because I think it's a contradiction. It contradicts the reason that you're pulling out. If you're saying this is because it's not nonpartisan, and then pulling out, that's still being divisive. So I feel like if you're going to say the event is, President Trump is being divisive, we're not going to come. I think that's counterproductive. If I'm using that correctly, I believe it's counterproductive. What's going on, MC Kirk? Thanks for joining. So yeah, that's my personal opinion. I want to know what you guys think. Should the performers still show up? And why is President Trump making the decision to headline the Great American Fair? And I don't know if you guys saw this, right? It was a young man that they said that he was dancing. He wasn't dancing. I just watched the video. Anyway, where Charlie Kirk was assassinated, he acted out the assassination, and people are outraged. They're kind of upset that he did that, and I get it. I get it, right? Nico, Mimi, thanks for joining. I do get why they're upset. But on the cusp of what just happened at the roast of Kevin Hart, right? Some people there said some things that I found offensive, and people said, well, hey, they're just jokes, right? They're just jokes. Just laugh about it, just keep it moving or whatever. Well, I don't believe that they were just jokes. I don't. You know how a person can say something jokingly, but you really mean what you're saying, right? It's not like you're saying it jokingly, but I really do mean what I'm saying to you, right? I feel like that's what was happening at Kevin Hart's roast. I don't think that lynching black men is something that anyone should joke about. right? There, you're not gonna hear jokes about the Holocaust, right? No one at no point in time is there going to be a time when people are going to say, okay, the Holocaust is far enough behind us that we're going to start joking about the Holocaust. Not going to happen. So why is it that when it comes to black folks, right, that people want to say, oh, what happened, it happened a while ago, you can get over it, now we can joke. No, that's not how it works. Um, yeah, I'm still pretty pissed off about slavery. You know what I mean? I'm still pissed off about the Second Civil War. I'm still pissed off about the Tulsa Massacre, the Project Move. I'm pissed off about so many people being lynched and this is what's crazy. I don't know if you saw this. I saw a video the other day, young lady. I didn't even go into the background. I don't know. Anyway, police officer just beat her up, punched her all in the face, whatever. He got fired. He may have charges or whatever. And someone made the statement. What did they say? Thank God that the camera was rolling, that someone was recording it. Yeah, thank God that someone was recording it. But then I thought about the fact that 20, 30, what, not 20 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, there weren't cameras, right? There weren't body cams and there weren't cameras on your phone, and everybody wasn't running around with the, VHS recorder, etc. So can you imagine how many people were terrorized by the police during those times, and it just wasn't caught on camera, right? So yeah, pissed. And then people want to make these statements about George Floyd. I've even heard things about Trayvon Martin and other people who have died horrendous deaths at the hands of whoever, right? And people want to joke about it. And then we're supposed to laugh and whatever ourselves, right? But then this young guy goes to Charlie Kirk's, the place where he was assassinated, and he's joking, right? It's a joke. That's all he's doing. He's just joking. So why the outrage? Why the outrage? I don't get it. Like, I'm trying to think of the right word, to say. Yeah, it's hypocritical. That's the word. What's going on, Alonzo? It's hypocritical. And I know that at the roast with Kevin Hart, there were jokes made about Charlie Kirk. Now, I don't know who necessarily made the joke, but I don't, and I was saying this earlier, I think that we are living in a time where I don't know where it's coming from. I said this before. I think that it comes from President Trump. And don't be upset with me. Like, I just think President Trump is this horrible person. But I do think that he's a horrible person. I think he's a horrible person, and I think that he is a horrible example of what a human being should be. And I think that the fact that he is president is the fact that he is president. People believe that the person that he is, they should aspire to be. And so, they try to say that, he's so honest and he says what, there's a thing about using diplomacy, right? You just use diplomacy. You try to treat people the way you want to be treated. And so we're losing, and I said this before, we're losing humanity. And these times right here, that's why it's so easy to make these jokes and on both sides. And it's getting worse. It's not getting better. It's getting worse. But anyway, let me know your thoughts on it. Again, everything is debatable. What's going on, So Royal, Leefu, G59, Reg, is that it? Rhino Man, what's happening? Next thing that I want to talk about, and this, I don't know if you heard this story about, I think it's A.B. Hernandez. A.B. Hernandez in California, transgender, competing in women's track and field or something like that, won some awards, medals placed, and all of this stuff. Now, of course, in California, it's illegal for transgenders to participate in women's sports. And so, people are upset about that. And I get it. I do. I don't think that men, because they are physically men, should be participating in women's sports. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. The thing is if society really felt that men and women should be competing together, there wouldn't be separate leagues. There wouldn't be a women's league and a men's league. You wouldn't have that because, they would just play together. So I don't believe that it's fair to the women or girls or whatever who have trained very hard to compete against other women, and then get there and you're competing with someone who is physically stronger. Possibly, you can't necessarily say, but I wonder if we actually, research, who are the fastest people, what we find that women have been faster than men. Now, as far as strength, if we're talking strength wise, but those might be some things to look up, Zay Lopez. Those might be some things to look up. Have historically, are men faster than women and stronger than women? I would think that would stand to be true, right? Yeah, I would think so. I wouldn't see why. Why not? But I could be wrong. But everything is debatable. And lastly, if you haven't seen the video yet, I did a video earlier about Jay-Z dissing Drake, among other people. And I'll say this: he said some stuff. He said some stuff in this freestyle that he did, whatever. But what I was saying, and this is my personal opinion again, and I've been a fan of rap for a very long time, and I've seen a lot of different rap beefs and stuff like that, going back to Cool Mo D. I think it was Cool Mo D and Big Daddy Kane. They had a rap beef. I believe it was Cool Mo D and Big Daddy Kane, right? I'm not sure. I believe so. I'm gonna look it up for you. I'll let you know next time. LL Cool J and Cannabis, Pac and Biggie, among a number of other people who have had these rap beefs, and they, Nas and Jay-Z rap beef. But as a rap fan and a hip hop fan or whatever you want to call it, I'm used to a diss song, not a diss freestyle. So I think that Jay-Z is kind of cheating us, but he wanted to get his shot in and said, I think that, for the fans of hip hop and rap, I believe that Jay-Z, if you're going to send shots, you got to come out with a diss song. You have to. That's my personal opinion. But I'm very curious to know. Now someone was mentioning the fact that Jay-Z was behind every move that was made against Drake. Now I don't know how true that is. I don't know how true that is. He said someone mentioned that he did the same thing with DMX. I'm going to go research that too, because I'm curious as to why Drake is upset with Jay-Z. I don't get it. I don't know where it comes from, but maybe I'm just not paying attention that much. I don't, catch too much, Breakfast Club or Drink Champs and stuff like that. I don't too much watch it. I might catch a short or something like that. But yeah, I'm very curious as to where it came from. I know